speaker is a person who probably does not need any introduction, but because she's a good friend, we'll give her one anyways. Zarqa Nawaz is the producer of the hit TV show Little Mosque in the Prairie. She's a Muslim Canadian woman. I don't know why they wrote that. Of Pakistani origin. I don't even know why they wrote that either. Born in Liverpool, in the UK, and raised in the Toronto area. Her resume includes being a freelance writer, broadcaster, and a filmmaker. Initially, she planned to go to medical school. However, after completing a bachelor degree in science, Zarqa decided to study journalism. Surprise, surprise. Completing a second degree at Ryerson University in 1992. She worked with CBC Television, The National, CTV, Canada AM, and was an associate producer of several CBC radio programs, including Morningside. Her 1992 radio documentary, The Changing Rituals of Death, won multiple awards at the Ontario Telefest Awards. And after all that hard work, Maureen, she gave it up for the easy laugh.
Well, she's been making billions of people laugh. Okay, so I don't know what it is because you're both in the same family, CBC. So getting back to that, when you sat down, that's okay, all right? In an interview, okay, she's done many interviews, but in the primary interview, stating that she became bored of journalism, I don't think there's any truth to that, because she took a summer film workshop at the Ontario College of Art and Design, and then she began working as a filmmaker, using comedy to explore relationships between Muslims and their neighbors in the contemporary North America. She's described the goal of her production company. Now you have to listen to this. Fundamentalist films. As putting the fun back into fundamentalism. Get it? So, in an interview, the second interview with the Prairie Dog magazine, Zarqa said her screenplay, Real Terrorists Don't Belly Dance, was inspired by movies like many of you probably seen or seen trailers, so on and so forth, like True Lies, remember that, Arnold Schwarzenegger, and Executive Decision. So she's actually crossed a lot of boundaries and borders. So she's actually made it to Hollywood. So she describes this as this new genre of film. So a cross between a terrorist flick and a comedy, which she calls, now listen to this, a charity. So her use of humor in the television series, and I'm quite sure each and every one of you are sitting here tonight, please tell me you watched The Little Mosque on the Prairie. You have no idea what you're missing out on. Okay, she's attracted multiple media attention, including mine and Nazim. Like, I just got a cup of Tim Hortons, and I'm like, I can't believe what she's done. That it's ranging all the way from CNN to the Jerusalem Post. Okay, so it didn't just bracket itself in the Islamic quote-unquote Muslim community, all the way to the Colbert Report. So even before it aired, it prompted CBC, now listen to this, to broadcast it, which I've never heard of, months ahead of its premiere or its original schedule. So the cast of Little Mosque, okay, is currently producing its second season of the show. Congratulations. Please put your hands together. Help me welcome the beautiful Mrs. Nawaz.
I wanted to thank Cam for inviting me. They were quite persuasive and diligent and chased me down for a very long time. Anyone who knows me knows that I really, the irony of public speaking is that I actually don't like it very much and try to avoid it at all costs. And when they asked me to say a few words, I was very hesitant and tried to get them to nail me down to just 5 minutes. So I really thought it was a long introduction, but that makes up half of my time, so now I only have to be here for 2 minutes. And I followed two very distinguished guests, and I was going to say the second speaker was talking about medicine and how many chiefs we have in the hospitals. And I guess that's the irony of my career, was that I was trying very hard to get into medicine, much to my parents' heartbreak. Could not pass the entrance exams. I think I wrote the MCATs at least twice, and eventually, I had to accept the fact that 4 years of science was essentially going to totally be wasted because I didn't understand a word of it. I didn't understand chemistry, physics. I really didn't understand those subjects at all. And it was clear to me now in retrospect that my talent lied in the arts at the time. And I guess this is my advice for all the parents and young people out there who feel that science is the ultimate career for a Muslim person. And we have clearly gone into science in such great numbers that you can see the results now in engineering and in hospitals, because they're full of Muslims, mashallah. But what I realized through going into journalism and ultimately into television is that we do sometimes pick fields in great number to the detriment of our own community, because ultimately popular culture defines a community and lets the world in on what they believe Muslims are. And for years and years and years, Hollywood has defined Islam as a faith of terror and oppression. And so when 9/11 happened, it was very easy for non-Muslims to accept the changes that happened when it came to the erosion of the civil rights of Muslims, particularly the Patriot Act in the United States. And it occurred to me after I made Little Mosque on the Prairie, and it became this, the media descended upon the show in such huge numbers, it became a global phenomenon. And I was asking, certain press in Europe, why do you think the world cares so much about this show? And they said to me, because it's the first time we have ever seen Muslims in a positive light on television. We have never seen Muslims be normal. And then on top of that, to see Muslims who are humorous and funny and making jokes, Muslims who are bearded and have kufis and topis who are wearing shalwar kameezes and gowns, who are praying in masjid, who care about their faith, and yet have this humanity who love their children, who care about paying their bills and just getting through life. We don't see that on television. We do not see Muslims as human beings, as fully formed human beings. And that's why the world was watching when the show aired, because they had never seen anything like this before. And it didn't occur to me how hungry the world was for this image of the normal Muslim family, of the normal Muslim woman, the normal Muslim man, that it hadn't existed in television before. And so that is, so that to me, what I didn't realize the power the show had, because when I did all these interviews, I would have Americans phone in and say, before I watched your show, I was afraid of you. I would see a Muslim man in a beard and I would be afraid of him. But now after watching the show, I think of him as a soft, lovable human being, and I've never considered him in that light before. And it sort of opened my eyes to the power of popular culture, that in the past, other groups, African Americans, the Jewish groups, by becoming stand-up comedians, by creating sitcoms about their community that have humanized and given them a fully three-dimensional view of their communities. And it's something that Muslims haven't done yet. We haven't gone into the field of entertainment in great numbers. And we need it desperately in the dire numbers than we have ever in the past. So I would say that, I know the entertainment field is one area that Muslims are lacking in, but I can see things changing. A lot more Muslims are going into journalism. A lot more Muslims are trying to become film directors, writers, and these are well-paying fields. You can make as much money as a comedy writer as you can as a doctor, and more. So I would encourage young people to continue to pursue these fields, and I would encourage parents. To encourage their sons to go into other fields besides medicine, because you'd be surprised the success that you can get in the public and popular culture, because there are many, many careers out there that are very successful, very well paying, and can help the Muslim community humanize, normalize, and we need that so desperately today. So I'm really glad that I was invited by Camp, and that people have, particularly the Muslim community, I'm incredibly grateful that they have come out in support of the show in great numbers and let me know how much it matters to them. Because I didn't know what the response would be when I created the show, because you go to the mosque, you have all these really crazy experiences, and suddenly you're like, there's so much material out there that you can take that and you can spin it and show people what our lives are like on a daily basis. And so, Muslims came to me and said, this is incredible. When I watch the show, I think, oh my God, Halloween, that's exactly the same struggles I went through as a parent with my kids. And you sort of personify this on a TV show, and this is where I want my kids to be seen instead of